Welcome back, everybody. It's going to be more of a subdued stream, I think, today. I'm tired, but pretty excited about what I'm working on today. I am working on, last stream I was working on getting the class selection menu all, the front end implemented to plug into the back end that my husband was working on, and got that done. So I'll do a quick demo of that and show some of the code. And then today I am working on, we have the main menu, you can invite people to a party, you can start a game, you can pick your class, and now we get into the main scene. And there's currently very little in the main scene, just the viewport. So I will be assembling the main scene's primary buttons, and depending how much energy I have throughout the night, I will also be then working on prototyping the equipment workflow. So, brief elevator pitch for those that are new to the stream. My husband and I built a game engine by hand to C++ over the last 5-6 years, and now we are working on our first commercial project. And we don't use AI tooling for this project. We're doing it by hand. So if you're interested in how the sauce is made, come join us. And a little bit about the game: we are taking the CRPG dungeon crawler experience of the 90s and trying to compress it into a 30-minute multiplayer deck builder experience. All right, so let's get right into it. So a little demo of what I was working on last couple of streams is now done. I'll show you here. We'll get my second player going here on the right. All right. So we have player 2 over here. And then we're going to launch the game over here. All right. Let's just create a lobby and join it. So I was working on the class selection for the last couple of streams. That's what I'm going to show off now. So when you start a game, there will be 3 classes to choose from. And this is a multiplayer game, and the class that you choose matters. Multiple players can be the same class, but there will be contention over shared libraries per class of cards. So we go 15 seconds at a time, player by player. They have to choose a class. So right now it is this player's turn. And so I'm going to choose Wizard, and then it moves over to this player's turn. They're going to choose Rogue, and then the bots are going to choose, and then we go right into the game itself. And this is what I will be working on today, plugging the UI back in. We had at one point a much more functional UI than this, but this is where we've landed. I had a cool idea, if you're wondering why everything is so purple. I had a really cool idea for what I wanted this to look like, and I was going to tone map it to I actually have this pretty cool system implemented. Let's see, I can show you. So I've tone mapped, and this is client side, so you won't see it on this PC, but such that this is like a little lookup table. And then in the background, the textures are just solid red, solid yellow, and solid green. And then we can, the primary color is red, secondary color is yellow. So if I want to change anything that matches those colors, I can. And then, so we can end up with really cool looking effects here, but I am moving away from this, I think. It does look cool, but I'm going with a different visual style now. All right, so the goal for today is to start just throwing all the UI elements back in, cleaning up the UI scene, because I've had it in there once before, but we've scrapped most of that and done a lot of rework on the systems that plug into the UI, so there will be some cleanup there. And goal is to get it to look like this mock-up here, and full disclosure, very little of this mock-up is my art. The goal here was to make a high-fidelity visual mock-up of what I want the UI to look like. So I grabbed things from Pinterest. I'm sure half of this is AI generated, these images. I didn't use AI to generate this, but I just went and shamelessly grabbed items off of the internet as my rough draft to see. Yeah, I think I like a cave here. I want the threads of fate to be wrapped around the cave. I want the stones to look roughly like this. I want the equipment menu here. So that's what we're going to be building towards today. And I won't be putting any high fidelity assets in here yet, just rectangles and circles to get the functional prototype in place. So let's see, I'm going to actually screen grab this and pull it off to the right so I can have a template to follow here. Alrighty. Let's close my laptop session. Oh, nice. It sent us back to the main menu. Cool. All right. I've been slowly trying to get my bedtime up past 8:00 p.m. It's been so exciting working on the project since my husband came back to work on it because he can get stuff done so fast. Generally, for those that are watching the stream, I'm not a bad programmer by any means. I'm quite good at what I do, and especially with what I do at work. But C++, I would not call myself an expert. I'm somewhere in the. I've been using it for a long time, but there's things that still trip me up, and sometimes basic things, some more advanced things I do know, but I am proficient in C++ in that I can make what I want to make without too much trouble. But if you want to watch my streams are going to be more of the game design perspective because the game was my idea. I've got the vision for it, and I've been have the GDD made. And if you're then interested also in how to make animations, how we actually plug assets into our custom engine, how to make 3D models, how to make these textures, that will all be me. But then if you really want to get into some more advanced C++, that'll be Cal's stream. So he's the architecture and systems guy. So he will frequently do a pass over my code and say, "Oh, hey, did you know that you're doing this and you shouldn't?" Or, "Why don't you try this? This is a much more simple thing." So I'm more on the game design front and the ideas and art in assets, and he'll be more on the deep technical side. And I'm not saying I can't code, I code just fine, but if you really want to get into the nitty gritty of the C++, watch his streams because he does some cool stuff on there. We'll be programming mostly just generally just programming on here for the next couple of months, and then eventually we're going to pivot and I'll start focusing more on the art, and he'll do more of the polishing of the code itself once we get our functional prototype going, which is much faster than I had previously thought when I was working on the project by myself. All right, so I'm just going to run just to make sure that switching back to the master branch didn't leave anything behind that I was hoping that I was needing. And it did. Oh, yeah, there we go. But our engine has everything that we need for it right now, and that's for an actual game, and it's really cool. It has an entity component system and a renderer and its own asset format and the ability to import assets. Physics. We had at one point, Cal had written his own physics system, but now we're using Jolt because for a past project we needed wheel physics, and he did not want to invest the time in learning how to do that. So we've got physics, a renderer, and then shader creation, and the graphics programming side of the house is me. But I'd say, looking ahead to the future, we'll probably be prototyping until ambitiously until like November or December, maybe a little later, and that'll be primarily code. And then I'll be working on creating a metric ton of 3D models and textures and environment designs and monster designs and all of that. Probably beginning of next year. It might happen a little sooner. We'll see. All right. So we need to revive the old game mode UI. Are you even in here anymore? No, that is okay. That's a bummer. Do I even call you? I'm going to keep you as game UI, and I'm going to change your name to UI Manager. So this UI Manager class, newly named, has a draw call, and that's what's called from the engine's main UI render loop, and it just dispatches to, hey, are you in the main menu mode? Dispatch to the main menu UI. Are you in the class selection? Dispatch to the class selection UI. I'm going to call it the UI Manager now because I really think game UI should be reserved for the primary game surface. So doing that now. Then I have to find it in the CMake lists and update its name here. Now let's see what skeleton I want to follow here. Take the one we just did this week. All right, so we're going to want to pass in the image cache, definitely. We're going to want to make a controller, so we'll probably just stub that out next. Okay, let's make the controller next. It does have an unfortunate name, though. The problem is, I have only one scene for the actual game. Well, it's in the UI namespace, so that's okay that it has a name as Generalist Game Controller. Okay. Now, game UI is going to take a game controller. Then we'll definitely need some fonts, so let's grab font assets. And can you be forward declared? You can. I'll make that a little bit bigger for folks watching. All right, we have our controller. So this will just be boilerplate here, setting up the UI for the main primary game scene. All right, we have a controller. We know we're going to need a body font and a title font. We might actually need more, but let's get those in place now. It's exactly the same code as class selection controller. Good. I'm going to be good this time. Hi, Prince Lockwall. Meow to you. Have you, speaking of being a cat, have you read Dungeon Crawler Carl or listened to the audiobooks? You might really enjoy it because one of the main characters is in fact a cat like you. All right, so I'm going to be good today and stub the tests out right away. So we're going to need a game controller test. I'm probably going to need to mock out all of these things. I am from the United States. Where are you from? Meow. I feel like it would be quickest just to... Maybe it wouldn't. Yeah, I'll just make a new one. An Indian cat? Nice. My manager at work is from India. It's a place I've always wanted to go visit. I think it'd be really cool. I've only ever been out of the country to one other country, and that was Japan, and I've been to Japan 3 times. Hi, Sleepy Owl Dev. Let's see. How did I learn CPP? I messed around with, I think Python was the first language I ever started with. And then when I got into college, we did like the C, primarily C and some C++ programming. And I want to say about half the time we used C++ in college, which is less than you would think. Then C++ went out of my life for a long time. I have a career in legacy software development for VB.NET and C#, but still way more VB.NET than you would think. And then my husband picked up C++ 7-8 years ago, just wanted to learn it, and started tinkering around and making the game engine in it. And so then I picked it up around that same time and just... I would complain wildly about using C++ for years. And it has finally clicked. When you go from something like C# with their memory management paradigms, and then you go into a language where you have to handle it all yourself, it's a rough learning curve. And then once you get a mental model for how it works, even at like a rough level, things start to finally click. Nowadays with someone asked me last stream before using 23 or 26. I thought we were still targeting 23, and then I tried a 26 function and it worked. So 26. But nowadays with like the ranges stuff in C++, it's most of my complaints about C++ have gone away. The memory management stuff has never really bothered me. It was just that .NET has such an ecosystem and such a nice set of methods, and it's very intuitive. C++ is much, much more bare bones than that. And so it would be things like, I just want basic link-like functions that I can use in C++. But nowadays, those complaints don't really exist because you can do just about everything. All right. So I'm working on the stubs here for my new class, which does not yet exist. Oh, goodness sake. All right, let's copy you so I don't have to remember all the test syntax. It's testing test is the base class. All right, so I'm going to try to write tests as I go. There's nothing worse than being done with a feature and then writing a bunch of tests and at that point realizing that, oh, Yep, my tests are failing because I made some kind of obvious mistake or maybe unobvious mistake that the test caught, and then having to go back and account for that and fix it. So this time I'm going to do tests up front, and that will keep me pinned to a nice, sane architecture. All right, I don't know all of the things I need in here. I will need the... I'll just leave it at... How far do I want to go down here? I'm going to need most of these things. Let's just... We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So let's do UUT, unit under test, and we'll include our UI game controller. Oh, goodness sake. Oh, I will be right back. That's the boyo. All right, I am back. Hey, if it isn't old Chili's baby back ribs barbecue sauce. Welcome back. Okay, so unit under test is the game controller. And what do you need so far? You just need nothing. Okay, let's see. Oh, I did add you to the CMake, so let's see if we're building. So I am, for those that were just joining, we are done with the class selection scene, and so I'm working on now getting the, oh, wrong namespace. I'm working on getting the main, like the primary game scene UI buttons in tonight. And if we get that all done, I'm not sure how much energy I have tonight, but if we get all of like just the primary buttons and so we start wiring up to the back end that my husband's working on now, that I'll wire up to the equipment selection menu because that is wired up in the back end now. Yeah, I do too. Sleepy Owl Dev. Okay. App test. Why can't. Oh, interesting. How did you get missed when I updated? Okay, we're gonna actually have. So I changed the name of the UI to. Oh yeah, a couple of you hang-arounders. UI to what did I call you? UI manager.h. See if that caught everything. Yeah, C++ is by far my preferred language now. If you put sufficient warnings on, then you'll have a pretty fine time of doing things. I have not used Go very much, but proponents of Go, even though it has a garbage collector, proponents of Go say that it's a nice hybrid between something like Python and something like C++ because and the thing that attracts me to it is that it is very, very strict. There is one way that you write Go, and it forces you into writing Go that way. In C++, I mean, you can go any number of ways with C++, but one example I saw with Golang is that the no discard, for example, in C++, you have to opt in. So no discard, for those that don't know, if you have a method that, let's just find one. So get instance manager returns a reference to the instance manager. And we don't have the no discard attribute here. But so that's something you have to opt into in C++. And what no discard means is that we will warn or error if you call a method that has a return value without capturing the return value. So in C++, no discard is something you have to opt into, but in Go, you have to opt out of it. So you have to opt into allowing discards of methods with return types. And that kind of thing, I just love it. I love really, really strict conventions on a thing. And C++ is so old that you can't back into something like that. But and even within the scope of our code base, we've drifted between our conventions. We still don't necessarily have a good rule of thumb for when do you pass a pointer or when do you pass a reference to something. Generally, my rule of thumb is pass a reference whenever you possibly can. And the reason for that is you don't have to deal with the concept of a null reference, for example. Whereas with pointers, if you're being careful, you'd want to do a null check on the pointer. References, of course, can't be null. So references are preferred. But sometimes you don't have the thing yet. So you need a pointer. That's roughly where we landed, but we've drifted all the way across to always pointers and back. So that's one thing I wish we did a little bit better here is when we change the style of our programming to go and update it everywhere. So we're falling into the traditional trap that every other endeavor falls into with a larger code base is when you change your style, just take the time if you have the situation to go update that everywhere. Someone in one of my earlier streams back before I had taken the break had asked me, oh, why don't you're passing a file path as a string. Why don't you use the std file path stuff? And the answer was just that when we wrote that method, we were not aware of the file system path stuff. And so we never went back and updated it. And that kind of stuff we really should get better about. Okay. We are not building. Enough chatting. You are mad. Oh. That's an easy one. Hello again, Monsi. I wish I knew how to pronounce people's names. Oh, and hi, MG Tech. YouTube. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Expected end of file found. Oh, yeah. Oh no, there's more of them. Oh, jeez. I might possibly be too tired to code very well today. But I know this for sure. I've got one brain cell, so I've got to be tonight because I'm very tired. So I've got to make diligent use of my single brain cell. Okay, what are you mad about? Oh, we need to... You're telling me this is a linker error, and in the game controller test, we don't know what command dispatch is because, right, we didn't do this. So we're gonna just stub out the symbols for the send class selection request method in the game controller test because I did not include that CPP in the CMake because it has a lot of dependencies as well. And this way, I can just, oh, and then we gotta include command dispatch, of course. So what I'm trying to do at the exact moment, since I'm creating the new UI, is get my test situated so I can start adding tests as I go. It's always the barrier to entry is getting the test boilerplate. So then I end up putting it off and then writing tests at the end. And as I was saying earlier, if you write tests at the end, those tests will indicate something about your code base or about your, whatever it is you're testing that should be changed. And it's oftentimes not easy to change them easily. All right. So what we have in the back end when we load the scene, we prompt the player to change equipment. And then we're just selecting one right here. So I'm going to be working on just getting buttons in today. And we've got all of our boilerplate. I'm actually going to create a new branch and commit. So this is, what do I call it? Game UI initial. The game UI, it will take a long time to finally get all plugged in. So what we're doing, I'm working on just getting all the buttons in place. My husband's working on getting all this different systems, the backends in place at the moment. Then we meet in the middle. It's been working really well so far this last week. All right, so added game UI and game controller and rename the UI to UI manager. Before we hit that commit button, did we break any tests? I would not expect we did. We haven't changed much. All right. I'm always really curious what people are working on, so send a comment, and I can you put links in YouTube comments? You can, right? If you can, send a comment to if you have an open source repo on GitHub. I'd love to see what you guys are doing. I know for sure you can't put comments in live chat. I'm also curious to see how many people here are here because they're interested in game dev, or are you specifically interested in C++? And what is your experience level with game dev in general and C++ in general? Because I would assume generally the move is to use Godot these days. Unity's kind of been out of vogue with their pricing changes. And Unreal, I would imagine Unreal is the #1 choice. We messed around with Unreal a couple of years ago, but it's just so huge and unwieldy. And we've invested all this time into making a game engine, which we did for fun. But the cool thing about writing your own game engine is if you have 5 years to burn, or however long it took us, the cool thing is then, okay, I have a bug in X. So instead of submitting a bug report and trying to shop it around to get people to upvote it and then waiting 6 months or a couple of quarters to get it fixed, you can just go and fix it. And you can fix it however you want to. And the other great thing is that I know the engine from the bottom to the top. So I know what its capabilities are. I know what its limitations are. And I have really good intuition for how the thing works. Although there are some dark corners that my husband wrote. He's done the vast majority of the non-graphics stuff on the engine. So there are some systems that I'm less familiar with, but that is the huge pro of writing your own game engine. Okay, let's see what we want to start with. So we want such a big problem to tackle. Where's my screenshot here? Do I want to just put a border around everything here? Fortunately, I don't. I think the viewport gets drawn. Yeah, the viewport gets drawn first. So I'll show you what I'm looking at here. For those looking at this is liberally copied and pasted from Pinterest and kind of mashed into what I want the UI to look like. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to stub in first. I won't be using any of these assets because I didn't make any of them except for this man here. I made him, but for the point of the functional prototype, what I want is, what I really just need to do is grab my old scene and plug that in rather than having to reinvent the wheel. So I'm going to go find that. Looks like I had deleted it. Why don't you maximize it? Okay, so off camera here, I'm going in. Oh, you can see it. Looking at our old branches, finding one that had the previous UI that I was working on, because functional prototype is just fine, and I can hack what I need out of there and get rid of what I don't. Okay. I think I can take most of these functions at least. So we're going to want a public draw. What's the easiest way to probably just go do this. So this is the old version of the same UI that I'm redoing here. Just in a previous branch. Do I not? Maybe it's already in here and I'm just sleepy. No, definitely not. Okay, here is the header and the CPP for that. You guys, Chili's wants to know what he should get in his triple dipper. Is that chicken wings with triple sauce? My Chili's lore is really out of date. I'm glad you're here, Chili's. I haven't been to a Chili's in literally since I was a kid. I don't know if I don't know if I've ever been to a Chili's. I know Minnesota has Chili's, but it's been a long time. I have no memory of going to a Chili's, so I can't tell you what you should get in your triple dipper. All right, let's start with our draw. So MGUI is an immediate mode renderer, which most things you're going to work with are retained mode renderers. So with a retained mode renderer, you build up your UI tree, which is like your control hierarchy. So you'll have a window and you'll create a new window class and then hold the memory for it. And then in your window class, you'll create a button class and they just hang around for the duration of the program. That is not how, that's a retained mode GUI. MGUI is an immediate mode GUI, so every single frame, which this draw call is called, you create your window, you create your button, and then you tear them down. And then every frame again, you create your button, create your window, etc. So it's a different design paradigm for sure. All right, I don't think I need graphics in there. Let's just start with all the... Okay, we need the extent for sure. Extent. That comes from the NC Math library. All right, so then we want dimensions, which is another. And we are no longer in the... No, we are still. Why aren't you? Why are you unhappy? Oh. Duh. Okay, we have our extent. That should be enough for now. So let's head over to the CPP and start working on that draw. I'm going to want to include game controller. Okay, so much of this will be the same. Let's see. Process input we don't care about. Loadout is not what we want. We want the... Where did I put the players? The toolbar. Okay, viewport cards panel. Let's start there. That's a good thing to start with. Oops. Let's find where this was called. Okay, so first thing we want to do is we want to get the dimensions of our card panel relative to the extent of the screen. So let's start on that. It's auto viewport card. All them stones though now. And UI, is it UI sizes or UI utilities that has I think it's utility, but we'll just take a quick look. No, it's not. Yeah. All right. So the viewport and cards is going to be positioned to, oh, we need the viewport. How did I figure this out? This was clever. Okay. It would be easier just to copy and paste this and then back edit it, but oh, it came from the scene. Where are you? Oh, it's you're in you. Okay. That's not the right place for you. You need to live here. And these are just, I'm going to follow the pattern that I've established elsewhere to put all any sizing variables, just any sizing ratios in the CPP. I'll show you that here. Like this. And if you make all your sizing a ratio to the screen extent, then when you resize the screen, everything applies correctly. And it's an anonymous namespace. Got too many tabs open here. Auto G. Do we go const export or do we do? Yeah. Okay, so G. So this was comprised of relative sizing based on the width of the other things. So we want our player's width, that still stands, it's still the same. We have our toolbar height, that is the same as well. And you guys are all up here, right? Really, actually, I need all of this in here. I'm just going to rename it. But I don't need the card panel because we're going in a different direction there. All right, now do I need to? So we have the viewport width ratio, we have the players width ratio. The logs width ratio is the same as the players width ratio. This will capture the rest. Then so this should be symmetric. So these two are the same size, these two are the same size. Okay. So this is saying we want it to start. Oh, so these are ratios themselves, but the ratio of where we want the position to be relative to the screen of the viewport, which is this little window here. We want it to start as soon as the players ends in the X direction, and then we want it to start as soon as the toolbar, which is this guy, ends in the Y direction. That's right. Then we want the size to be width ratio. Why is my viewport a perfect square? I find that very hard to believe. More like that this was never using the height. I was calculating it off of the width or something. Okay, so then popping back over here, we don't need you at all now. And we don't need you either. And you guys should really just go into utilities, but that is a larger effort that I will not do right now. That is. Okay, then we're working on drawing the viewport surrounding, or the border surrounding the viewport right now. So let's work on the viewport actually first. So now I'm just taking the ratios that we just set up and multiplying them by the extent. Product viewport ratios dot pose oh my poor brain ratios dot pose times the extent, then the same thing with the size. You live in utils. UI T. Okay, so this will get us the actual size in pixels that we want our viewport to be. Then we want to do, I started writing you. So this will be the, I wonder if it's, this doesn't read clear to me as to what this is. So what it is this panel minus the viewport, but and I don't want to call it the viewport border because that kind of obfuscates how important the stones panel is as part of that. I'll just leave it for now. So the viewport and stones dimensions will be, so the reason I'm copying this from my previous code is it's actually, this is the code to render the previous UI of the game, which was identical. So the ratios and stuff have not changed, just the assets. Actually, the assets haven't changed either. But there's just a lot of this code that was tailored towards it being a card game rather than the direction I've gone with it now. But over and above, or far and away, the bones are still perfectly valid. Okay, so viewport. I'm not gonna type you by hand. This was really slick the way that I had set it up, because if you want to change any sizing, you just do it here and the rest of them cascade and resize as well. All right, and the toolbar height. Oh, that's an easy one too. I'm doing static const autos because this is GUI, so it's going to run every frame. And the static const auto just makes it only run once. Or the static does. Static const does. So toolbar height equals extent.y times toolbar height ratio. Okay. Now we can draw our viewport and cards panel. So let's grab, all we really care about right here is drawing that asset, grabbing that asset, which is right here. Okay. But I'm going to make a method to do this because it will get a little bit more involved. So let's prepare for that now. Alright, so we want to set our window. Oh, do we just need to pass the panel dimensions? We do. But what dimensions are we sending in here? Oh, the viewport cards panel, yeah. Okay, and I'm going to forward declare you now, and I'm pretty sure there's a struct. It'll yell at me if it is a class. Okay. Then we're going to open the window. Yeah, this is unacceptable. We're making you a window flag. Much nicer. Then we can do our viewport panel image, which is already an asset that's already loaded, but I need to then, I'm going to end the image, or end the window. Okay. So now we need to pass in the image cache, but we don't yet have an image cache for the primary game scene, so let's make one. So the image cache is a class that I'm really happy with. It has two responsibilities. One of them, it can load runtime images, so if Steam sends you back a bunch of pixel data for a user profile, you can load that into one of our texture types and then get the texture ref for it in MGUI. And the other responsibility it has is all of our assets, which are loaded at scene load time. You pipe into an MGUI texture ref. It's kind of nice. So then what I've taken to doing is making a struct for each of the different UIs and then just keeping the references to the icons and images that they need in those structs so that I don't have to pass the whole class around. I can just pass the struct. But, you know, there is a problem with calling this game UI because, darn it, if this is not way too general, but we want the viewport cards panel. And this also, the image cache class itself takes the pointer to MC graphics, which we need for the fetching the textures from the assets. And now I don't have to pass it into all of my methods that need to get an image like I did for in the previous iteration, and that's a huge benefit. Hi LambJs100. I am working on a game, in a game engine my husband and I built. So the game is, very briefly, I'm taking everything I love about 90s dungeon crawlers and like the retro CRPG and everything I love about deck builders and auto battlers, and I'm squishing the CRPG into a 30-minute multiplayer deck builder experience. That is the game. And right now we're working on functional prototype. We've got the game design document, we've got the vision, we've got the networking established. So now we're trying to hammer through to getting something actually playable for my husband and I, so we can work more on the cards that we're going to have and figure out if it's actually fun. But I know it's going to be, because I can't imagine something that I would want to play more personally. All right, so we have our reference or texture ref for the Viewport Stones panel container here. Now we just have to populate it. Are you I? Oh, it's not Lamb Jays. I'm sorry, Lamb Jays. You are Jay-Z. I am Jay-Z 100. Am I just loving you refer to you as Lamb Jays from now on? You're Lamb Jays now forever. All right. Now what we have to do here is actually fetch the image itself from our assets. Loader here. Okay, so we're gonna get the texture view for, what are you called? You are called card. UI card. I don't think it's the card panel. Let's look at what it was. Oh, this is so much worse before. I'm so glad we improved it. Okay, where is the card panel texture ID? Here you are. Oh, it is UI card panel. UI card panel. And that's as easy as that. Now in the game UI, you can just call. Oh no, we've got to pass the image cache into the game UI first. And was I passing it in the others in the UI or the controller? I want to be consistent. Oh, really? Not the UI, huh? Well, it's okay. Well, we'll put it in the controller. Just game controller. Okay, so we are going to use an image cache, which we can for declare. So it's called game image cache. Then we're going to need to make a game controller, and we're going to send in the game image cache by ref. And it's not constref, even though it could be, because we still have the opportunity to load runtime images, which we might have to do depending on what I do with how I'm going to represent profile pictures. We're just calling it image cache. Going to be a reference. Okay, then I don't like that I put the image cache in the controllers, but now that ship has sailed. So let's say auto get stone get viewport stones panel. And this can be const. And texture ref. And then we're just going to call and image cache dot. Oh, what? We can't forward declare if we're going to do this. Let's just not forward declare. That's okay. image cache dot viewport stones panel. That's so much lighter than trying to get NC graphics and doing all the texture loading here. And I'm really happy that it's working out this way. Because the UI doesn't care about how to load a texture. That is not its concern. It just wants the texture to show. Okay, so now we just need to pass the game image cache into the... Oh, see, now I'm already confused again. I called this the UI manager. Oh, but I haven't even put... Wow. Okay, step 1 is to put the game UI in the manager. So let's do that. Game UI.h. And we want the game. Oh, but you have a reference to the controller, so we don't need the class selection controller here. Then you have a reference to your controller. Oh, I must be forward declaring it. That's what in the class selection UI. Which I'm also doing in game UI. So controller. Okay. So you need the image cache dot. Oh, I need to make a little method to expose you. Get game. I'm going to rename all these while I'm in here. Okay, it's a little bit more clear. Okay, now back in the UI manager. Get the game cache. Then game UI is game controller. Okay, then we also need to wire up the draw. I'm still unhappy. What else does the game UI need? Oh, the extend, of course. Okay, then we just can call. So this is actually where the wiring happens. So game UI dot draw and pass it the extent. Oh no, this is a bug, I think. Why am I passing the extent and not the dimensions? The extent doesn't change and the dimensions do. No. I'm going to make myself an issue. Okay. All right, so that's wired in. I'll fix them all at once if I do end up moving them over. So we're calling game UI draw now, which is then going to, does not call this yet, but will. Okay, now I should have, but we're running the controller. Oh, it already does. Okay. Then we should be able to say GUI image, and we want to get the, what was I doing in the old version regarding sizes? Oh, that's easy. Okay, so we want controller dot get viewport stones panel. No, that's gonna be really confusing. Get viewport stones panel image. It already confused me. I wrote it within the last 5 minutes. Stones image dot size. All right, let's see if all of that has netted us a panel. Oh. Okay. So this viewport ratios was in sync with the scene, which where should I put you? Because, oh, do you have a handle? Can you have a handle to the UI? I can't immediately think of why you couldn't. But didn't I declare that in the CPP, not the... Okay. Let's clear some of this noise here. So what I need to do is get the viewport ratios. Oh, I probably just put it back in the UI. Oh, this is horrible. What I'd like to do is put it in the header, pull it out of the CPP and put it in the header, and then include the header here. I don't see any reason why I can't include the UI header here. So game UI. I'm gonna move you. Which one are you talking about? This one. And put you in here. Oh no, but it's of course it's not just gonna be. Oh, that's a bummer. I guess you can all. Oh, the struggle is real. Where I put you all. I really like my ratios being here. Okay, you need the players. Yeah, shoot. Okay, well, what do you do? It's needed in 2 places. I can. Might as well just put them here. Okay, per. I think. I don't think you can have a problem with that. Const, just in case. There's nothing worse than silently judging your own old code and then realizing why you did something in the first place. And of course, we can't for declare you. No, it was in sizes. All Alright, I'll be back in a minute here. Alrighty. Okay, so I was migrating all of this back into the header out of the CPP. I don't know if I can make this context for auto. It's probably going to yell at me here in a second. But I'm going to try it. Now, then I can access here if I include game UI. Then I will have this, and it's called, so we're in the OOU namespace, so it's called Viewport Ratio. Okay, that should be fine, but I've got to update the header now. Oops. Control V. Is that all I need so far? Yeah, let's try it. One of the things I don't understand well about C++ yet is when, okay, why? Yeah, when can I make something const expr? And when can I not? Oh. Oh, maybe I can. It was just yelling at me about this. Oh, toolbar height ratio has to come over to everything. Must go. That is a bummer. Maybe I'll just do this then in the other UIs. Remember what I was just talking about earlier with go back and update so that you're consistent? I'm going to do it if this works. Because I only have 2 other UIs, so that will not be very unwieldy. I was putting these ratios in the CPPs because I didn't need them anywhere else, but see, this is the trouble because I would prefer them to be in the CPP, and this is an exceptional case. All right. You are telling me that you need more than, yeah, you need the extent. No, you don't. What else do you need? Oh, you just need the image. Oh, did I, wait. Okay, you're telling me, what are you telling me? We can't make a game controller just by passing a reference. Why not? Oh, because I for declared and didn't include? Probably. Yep. Where are my other controllers? Why aren't here? I feel like we just did this. Weird. Okay. Well, let's alphabetize. could be... Okay. Can my poor sleepy brain figure out what you're telling me? So we can't find the constructor of game controller. UI game image cache. We have a reference to you. We have a what you are. So let's go back to the game UI. Oh. Okay, this is confusing me because the UI manager used to be called game UI. So let's go back to the UI manager and figure out Oh, it's a const problem, you guys. Oof, yeesh. Okay. That's an easy one. So I can make the game image cache const because if I need to have the functionality to load runtime textures, which would make it forced to be a not const, then I wouldn't be able to include the game image cache anyway, because that functionality lives in the image cache, not the game image cache. When in doubt, check const. All right, and we're looking for the... I thought I already added you to the CPP, or to the CMake, I mean. Maybe I didn't. Oh, you UI. Oh, another easy one. I didn't. So, okay, I think we're near the end of it now. Toolbar height ratio. Be the last. Oh, that test, of course. So my game controller now needs my image cache. That's UI game image cache. And can I pass you? And you're just gonna be const, correct? Well, let's just try first. Okay, now let's see if we can run and see our nice new border. No. Okay, so it's building but not drawing. So let's make sure that UI is appropriately being piped in here. So this is our combat, our main scene. I'm going to change the name here soon, but set mode, play mode, yeah. And let's go back to the manager CVP. Okay, play mode, game UI.draw. So we're entering, oh, because I'm not calling this, of course. Another easy one. Now will we see our nice border? Hey, look at that. We have a border. And then let's test the config and make it like 900 by some nasty resolution. Oh, that's way too small. Let's do like 700. Let's see if it is sizing appropriately. Gross, but okay. Nice it is. But actually, interestingly, I forgot to do that exercise when I did the class selection scene, and it looks like things aren't. Text is freaking. So let's take a look at that. Okay. So for the class selection scene, if we need to get the, okay, so the text is wrapping, but what we need is the black buttons. I might just fix that now. I'm gonna make an issue for it. I don't want to fix that now. Oops. A quick screenshot so I remember what I'm talking about. This is issue number 86. So let's do one more run through here. I've decided I'm leaving the ratios in the CPPs in the other classes, and that will be the pattern. That will be the rule, and this will be the exception. Okay, so rogue. Yeah, that's working nicely. Thought I just saw text. Okay, next we'll do the toolbar. But I'm going to, I don't think I possibly could have broken test. Let's make sure, okay. All right, so let's move right along, road down to the toolbar. And this will go pretty quick now that the plumbing is in place. All right, now how do my window flags? So no title bar, no resize, no move, no bring to front on focus. I think these should all be true. No inputs. Yes, that's true. Okay, and where did set UI utils that lived there? Oh, you were in the CPP. Why aren't you in UI utils? You should be. Why aren't you a parameter? Let's see if I can remember. No, I can't. Okay. I'm gonna make the move now. UI utility doesn't need anything more in there. We'll add comments as part of cleanup. I don't want to do it now. Okay. Then we're going to get rid of UI sizes and then update everybody that uses Views UI util. Hi. Welcome to the stream. I'm not going to try in your name at the risk of making a horrible faux pas. All right, so let's see, one more play mode. Let's see if that was as easy as that. No. Background. Oh, yeah. Of course, because you now need the background texture ID, which was in the CPP. Uh-oh, we've got a buffer. All right, y'all, we've got a buffer. Sif's buffing. It's about that time of night for me, so I'm going to call it here, but over the next couple of streams, I'm just going to be working, actually, probably the next mini, I will be working on the primary game UI and integration with the backend. So come join me, probably, what day is it, Saturday night? Probably Monday night. All right, see you then. Thanks for watching. And I'd be very interested for people that are watching, why are you watching? Do you guys do game dev on your own? Are you interested in C++? Are you interested in game development in general? But yeah, let me know. All right.